let's do some refactoring. First, let me extract this long line here that fetches a current contest into its own method. I'm going to call this method this.currentContest. We need to invoke it. So current contest is a method that just returns this line, making sure things still work. Perfect. We always refactor in the green state when things are working and you're not getting any errors. So what I want you to think about now is this page header, which we start with a static value, and then once we click on a contest, it actually gets its own value from the contest name. But this page header can actually be computed. We don't need to put it on the state. If we have a contest ID, we're going to read the current contest name. If we don't have a current contest ID, we just go with the default naming contest. So I'm going to actually remove it from the state. And instead, let's create a page header function. So this is very simple. If I have a current contest ID on the state, then the page header is going to be this dot current contest, the function that we just created, dot contest name. If I don't have a current contest ID, then I'm just going to return the default, which is naming contests. And now everywhere we have a page header, instead of reading it from the state, we can read it from this new function. And we don't actually need to set it on the state here. It's computed. So remove. Looks good. So let's actually test this. So refresh. Page header is getting the default value. And when I click, it's getting computed. So this is one item less from the state, which is always a good thing. Only put on the state the things that you can't compute from other things. And if there's something you can compute, instead of putting it on the state, just compute it. The other thing I want to refactor is in the server render. So in the server render file, we're returning the initial contests to the app. But once we start refreshing this page here, which currently does not work, but when we want it to work, then this is not going to be a valid way of passing the data, because the initial structure of the data is going to be different when I refresh the main page versus when I refresh a contest page. So what I want to do here, instead of passing the initial contests, I'm going to pass the initial data itself. And in here, I'll just pass response.data. So this way I can actually control the initial structure that I pass to the app component, and it can account for either a list of contests or a current contest. So to make that happen, we need to change our app, because right now our app assumes that we get initial contests. So we're going to go ahead and give it the initial data itself. And this is coming from the initial data. And inside the app component, I don't have initial contests anymore. What I have is the initial data, which is actually top level. So the whole state is going to be initiated as this.props.initial data. And let's go ahead and define the type for this initial data. So we can do static prop types here because we have the class syntax here. So the prop types can just be a static property in here. And my initial data is react.proptypes.object.isRequired. And let's make sure this is working. So refresh. Looks like it's working. One more time. Perfect. So now I am ready to refresh this URL and server render a single contest page, which we're going to do in the next movie.